With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. A couple of years ago, erotica was a big thing. I mean, 50 Shades of Grey was everywhere. And finally, just a couple weeks ago, the entire nightmare was over with the release of the final film. And it's good that it's over. Maybe this horrible type of erotica will go away for good. Because it's lame and it's stupid and it does nothing. Nothing. I mean, for me, I don't know. Women out there like it. But anyway, here's a fun one. A North Bay woman, and this is in San Francisco, who allegedly ran a sex ring with her son, is a prolific feminist erotica writer. Just, it has all the makings of a wonderful Lifetime movie. Now, a Rohnert Park woman who was accused of running a 150-woman prostitution ring with her son is also a prolific author of feminist erotica, a crime reporter at the Santa Rosa Press-Democrat discovered Tuesday during a jailhouse interview. Now, the woman is Fay Ruth Romesburg, and she's accused of working with her son, David Scott Romesburg, to lure women into sex work and then arranging appointments for them at 3 properties. 1 at Rohnert Park, and 2 in Santa Rosa, taking a cut of their earnings in the process, police said in January. So this woman, let's just scroll up here. This woman was running a 150 whore deep prostitution ring, right? 150 prostitutes were underneath her control. I really wonder if, like, was it, I forget the website, not Ashley Madison, but there was another website that was very popular in San Francisco that was running, doubling as a prostitution ring. But you may be thinking, why, San Francisco, why were there 150 women? Quite frankly, it's easy. You've got Silicon Valley right there and people with a lot of disposable income who may not be the best with the ladies. And so what do? They want a little bit of comfort on a Friday night after a long week of coding for Google. So they call up, Fay Ruth here, and they go, send me one of your best girls. I got money and I want to burn a hole in someone's pocket. That was a euphemism. Horrible one, but one nonetheless. Now, it says in the interview, the elder Romesburg said she was deeply concerned with female sexual empowerment and referred to laws against sex work as continued assault on women's rights. Which, here's the thing with that. I actually agree. I do. I do think prostitution should be legalized, regulated, and taxed. People are going to sell their bodies regardless. You might as well be able to turn it into a profitable business. You might as well be able to get a cut of that. I mean, Christ, if legal weed in California is going to bring in a lot of money in terms of tax revenue, then why not look at prostitution? I mean, if it slows down drugs going in, like cocaine and meth and stuff, and it cuts down on the cartel's control, why not look at the idea of legalizing prostitution? I mean, this chick had 150 women. That is a lot, right? That is just a lot. You almost want to, like, not even lock her up. You almost want the city of San Francisco to just, like, give her a job, part of a community outreach program. Like, all right, well, why don't you help us make this a reality? Why not help us make this a new law? So now it says she denies that any prostitution took place in the home on Alvarado Avenue, which the Santa Rosa police alleged was a brothel. And it's entirely possible that that was her home. And if illegal activity took place on the home, then it could be seized and then it becomes like the city property, therefore auctioned off later on. Or the bank forecloses or something like that. So if she says, no, none of that happened at the house, then they might be able to, like, keep it. Now, the investigation into the duo began when the manager of an apartment complex told law enforcement that they suspected the apartment rented by the Romesburgs may have been used for prostitution. And the thing is, look, it's not that hard to have a situation like that. It's called the in-call, right? You'll see this if you ever remember going on to Craigslist in the heyday of having hooker ads on there. You'd see that they would have, like, the descriptions like, oh, it's 150 roses for an hour. In call only, meaning that you go there and you give them $150 and an hour later you're coming out with a smile on your face and possibly herpes. And that, of course, is, you know, the whole point of renting out these apartments. They think it's discreet. They think people aren't going to notice other people coming and going. I'm sorry, we live in a voyeuristic society. People pay attention to what is going on. Unless that apartment had some kind of quick access to get to it, like, and no one was going to see who was coming and going, then and you're in trouble, right? I mean, everyone here knows their neighbors. Everyone here knows the nosy neighbor, and that nosy neighbor, in this case, the manager of the apartment complex, pretty much caught on that something was rotten in Denmark and then made a call to the police. Now, both Romesburgs appeared in court Monday, but have not yet entered pleas. They were reportedly given extra time to look for a private attorney. County records show their bail is set at $245,000, and his is set at $250,000. Wow, that's a lot of money. Fay Romesburg told Press Democrat that she is a writer by trade who has penned various erotic and sex-related works under the name F.R.R. Mallory. It does kind of seem to make sense that she is, a madam of a 150 woman deep prostitution ring, all about the empowerment of women's sexual rights. You know, of course, as long as she gets a cut, right? Because, you know, capitalism and all that jazz. And then she goes and she writes books like The Kinky Feminist, Extreme Space, The Domination and Submission Handbook, and Never Trust an Angel. According to her Amazon.com author bio. Yes. Amazon. That's great. She has degrees in English and psychology from UC Berkeley, and her work has also appeared in an anthology of vampire erotica called Bites of Passion. Part of me wants to go find these stories and read these stories because they are so wonderful. Saying here, every American carries the residues of puritanical sexual mores into any act of contact with other humans, including basic touch, she wrote in the introduction to The Kinky Feminist. Still, our history isn't enough burden upon our sexual expression. We are constantly told we need more laws to criminalize and legislate our sexual activities. And the thing is, again, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. Now, I'm not saying that we should legalize, you know, people being able to have sex in a public space in front of other people. You know, there are decency laws for that. But I mean, if someone is like wants to sneak behind a Kmart, you know, and have a little bit of fun, you know, with a busted condom, a little game of baby roulette, then you know, if no one's looking, who cares, right? If no one's looking, no one's around, it's not in plain sight, who cares? But they do. They really try to criminalize and legislate these sort of things. And this woman is clearly a liberal. Also a die-in-the-cast capitalist who found a way to work for her. I mean, looking at how much her bail is, you know they are making a pretty good amount of money if they were running 150 hookers. That's a lot of hoes, which means they service a lot of Johns. So I want to see their books. If it was ever possible to get access to their books, I'd want to see their books. Now, she goes on to say, we need to stop treating women as victims, she says of sex workers in her jailhouse interview. They are highly intelligent and educated. And that might have been actually what attracted them to her, right? If her job was to recruit women, she comes in, and think about this for a second. Let's just kind of like peel back the onion layers of this particular scenario. How is it that she got women on her side to be hookers, right? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but here's what I'm thinking. What she would do is she would probably do what most women like her would do, which would be trolling bus stations. There's a lot of homeless in San Francisco. There's a lot of people who are on drugs in San Francisco. A lot of low income areas over in Oakland and whatnot. Not as much now since gentrification. And a lot of people had to move out to Chino. So what does she do? She goes to those locations. She finds those women that are in desperate need. You know, I mean, obviously there's the old line of I have to go to medical school or I'm trying to get my computer sciences degree. But more often than not, it's they're trying to just survive. Maybe they got a kid or two, maybe whatever. And she says, look, come with me. I'll give you a job. I'll give you clothes. I'll give you food. I'll give you a nice warm bed. Here, you can express yourself as a woman. Express your femininity. Not be locked down by the patriarchal overlords of society. But here, you get to control. Your body, your vagina, gets to control the world with the man that you are with. And that kind of rhetoric will work. Feminism, let's be realistic here. As much as a funny ideology as it is to make fun of, it's more or less a cult. right? An echo chamber, one that's been specifically designed through second wave, third wave, and modern feminism to control women through the idea that they're never good enough without feminism. Wouldn't a madam use the exact same techniques on her hoes? Tell them that they're only good if they're with her? Preach feminist ideology, right? About how they need to be empowered and take their power back, but then she's the gatekeeper of that power. She's the one wielding the Bible that is known as the kinky feminist. That's kind of what she's doing. At least that's the way that I take it. Now, listen, I could be entirely wrong, and this woman here could be the shining beacon on the hill of actual honest feminism. And her job is just to facilitate women down the pathway of financial freedom and independent wealth. But she gets her taste. Because let's be fair, there's no such thing as a free lunch.